Hello, good night and good morning over here. How's everything?
Hi, everybody. Everything interesting. I have a question. So in the last few years, let's say, every time I would observe a duality of any kind, automatically this process of looking at the source of awareness would happen naturally, where everything dissolves and nothing is left. And from there, everything would like come into place naturally. But lately, I noticed that this phenomena is not happening anymore. And today, for example, I had a situation when I could see some emotions coming and stuff like this. And in the past, I would automatically go into this, where is the awareness coming from? But this time, and very often the result of that would make like a dissociation between the situation and the emotion and myself. But this time, I didn't do anything about it actually. And nothing was really happening, and I just didn't care about anything. And I was very surprised about that, and I want to know if what's happening.
Well, as you mentioned in one of your sentences, that phenomenon was not happening again. As you just said, it's a phenomenon. Okay, and like I said, the consciousness game, awareness game is the trickiest one to transcend, because it has one of the most beautiful phenomena there is, like absence of things, everything disappears, and things like that, which is a really refined. If you are, let's say, if you are in the beginning of everything that comes out of source, the first few things would be nothingness, absence of things. That would be the best kind of like first perspective into the purity, into the whole, into everything. That's the first things. The reality of being is not something that comes and goes. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it's clear, sometimes it's not clear. That's still games within the consciousness playing with itself, with the senses, with the elements, with everything, with itself. And if you pay attention to the two examples that you gave, your two experiences that you just shared, one of them is like in the past, you will be able to access or recognize something beyond awareness, let's say absence of awareness. That absence of awareness, when we play with it as an object of perception, a phenomena in front of us, immediately the moment you make it about something, you're going to reject everything, because everything is against this thing that I just found, and that I'm focusing on, or I'm playing with, And that's the trick with all of this. The self will never be something. It will never be a thing. You will never be able to experience it. You will never be able to play with it. You will never be able to touch it or find it or see it ever. Because like I said, the self, the real self, will never be an object of contemplation, you know? Of course, in the line, in the thread, in the veil of duality, there's still a witnessing something, you know, awareness, aware of something. Or even in the most subtle aspects of consciousness, it would be there's nothing. There's still something or someone that is aware of nothing. Absence of things, let's say. There's still really subtle happening. When you stop in that, for example, in that experience that you just mentioned, if you don't give name, form, acknowledge the phenomenon, you don't have a clue what's happening, you don't care about what's happening, you don't even label that something is happening because you don't care if it's something's happening. Like you is like you have erased or ignored completely that part that is always the beginning of conscious of something. Because if you are conscious of something, there has to be something there that can actually acknowledge that something, that little thing. It can be awareness, no awareness, nothingness, avoidiveness. I don't know, like it has to give a quality, seeing a quality, you know? And of course, when we play with that, let's say, the end result is what will happen is that experience is gonna change because it's still in the realm of the happening. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Sometimes there's nothingness, sometimes there's everythingness. It's like there's always something happening, you know? So that's why the less you pay attention to the impermanent, because everything that you just described is impermanent. Everything that you just said. Of course, it's a really subtle, really thin air experience, abstract, hard to pinpoint as a concrete thing when you are experiencing nothingness, let's say. It's hard to pinpoint that it's still a phenomenon that you can actually play with it, you know, like you can hold it in your hands. Yeah. So it's really important in that moment to don't give it a name, don't recognize anything, nor acknowledge it. Because in the middle of everything, there's someone there that is the real permanent experience, the self, the real self. And the real self is watching, it's not true, but just for the example of it, the self, let's say, is watching a really thin phenomena in the realm of awareness. The self has never seen anything. The self doesn't see anything. Is not aware of anything, doesn't watch anything, doesn't witness anything. The self is everything, which is different. And in that experience of being everything, he's not aware of everything at all. You know, it's just words. For example, let's say that everything that you see, everything that is gold. From the perspective of gold, the gold will never be able to see parts of itself. Ever. We'll never be able to see a bracelet, a ring, ever. That doesn't exist. You know, it doesn't see it. Gold is gold. It is gold. Its nature is goldish, you know? That's the experience. I am gold, you know? And that's the first, only then when you know that you are gold, you will be able to see that you are that potentiality of the drop of consciousness that like draws or paints the possibility of multiplication. But only then, not before. If it's before, it's just gonna be traps and traps and traps and traps, because you won't be able to get out of the name, form, perception. So from the example of the gold, if you rest as the substratum of everything, because that's who you are the substratum of everything. When it's clear that you are gold, That's your nature. And bracelets and ring have never existed in your experience because you don't see those things at all. You can't see shape, name, form, or anything. Phenomena, you don't see phenomena at all. If you see them, it's an invitation to don't acknowledge them. Don't give it a name and step back again, empty again, empty again, empty again. And then when the veil is clear, because it's going to be clear, it's like self-evident. When the veil disappears, all names and forms and everything disappears completely, gone. And what is left is like everything is, and you are that, including everything. But it's a hard way. It's hard to explain it because, like I said, everything is, but at the same time, nothing is. But from the perspective of the gold, really, no ring has ever existed. You know, so the question is, who sees rings? Who sees shapes? Who sees phenomena? And that's the veil of ignorance. That's where duality starts until it breaks.
Yeah, but precisely that question, who sees this or that, that was the natural questioning or the natural inner reverse of attention that was happening naturally every time I would see a duality, and it was happening just by itself. I didn't have to do anything about it. And every time it was again the nothingness, and then again back into the manifestation of things.
Yeah, because that nothingness is the opposite of manifestation. It's not the nothingness I'm talking about. It's different. That's why sometimes I gotta bring supreme nothingness. That's why sometimes I gotta bring some concepts that are, it's hard to explain or to pinpoint something that is beyond nothingness, because it is beyond nothingness.
Even the pointer of looking at the source of the awareness, it's we need to drop that at a certain point. Well, it's not that we need to drop that, it's that I'm observing that it's dropping its function just naturally.
Yeah, exactly. For example, as you just mentioned, something you mentioned before also, this, your natural state is natural. Doesn't have to do anything, doesn't have to discover anything, nothing at all. Complete, radiant, already full, you know? That's the reality, you're already that. There's nothing for you to gain. There's nothing for you to lose. There's nothing for you to understand, nothing at all. You're already complete. Within that completeness, for each and one of us, that reveals itself in the most marvelous ways. It's itself revealing itself. You have to do nothing at all. The more empty you are, the less you are involved in anything whatsoever. It reveals itself, wow, by itself. You just gotta be empty. That's the quiet, empty, not moving, just here. Let's say witnessing, empty of everything, empty of witnessing things. Not like I'm witnessing, I'm conscious that I'm witnessing. No, it's just quiet awareness, impersonal, just neutral being. You know, it's just natural. So of course, when the self in its most natural and pure living, let's say, everything that is not the self is gonna come out and gone for good, but it has nothing to do with you, because you will never be something that can be perceived. You are the perceiver of things. Who's the one that can actually see nothingness? Who's the one that is actually can see manifestation? Who's that one? And the deeper that question leads to the core of your own being, there's going to have a moment that everything will disappear and all phenomena will be gone for good. No witnessing, no witness, no here or there, not even nothingness, absence of things, nothing. It's hard to say, but the best way is just pointers to something that is more, its nature is more supreme nothingness than nothingness. You know, is tricky, and that will never be something that comes and goes. It's not like, oh, right now it's nothingness and tomorrow manifestation. No. If that happens, still a phenomenon. You know, and I said it's tricky. Like I said, it's tricky. It's beautiful experience to It's a beautiful experience when, let's say, your experience in the normal, your normal daily life is nothingness. But there's gonna be a moment when you gotta reject it. You gotta take it as a pointer, because there's still some pointing into someone or something that is able to witness or know that nothingness exists. And that one will never be a perception. And it will reveal itself in all its glory, destroying all limitation for good, forever. So manifestation will never come again, ever again. Time, gone. Consciousness, kapoof, forever. And what will remain is the reality of the self, which has no qualities, no notions of any kind, no names, no perceptions. And then it's tricky to express it, express it, because everything that is the self in all its glory, without parts. There's no parts. There has never been any parts. There has never been a you or me or there or here or anywhere. That was just fantasy. That's why it's important that every experience that you have, embrace it fully. Or, I mean, it's like awesome, great, but don't let define or say anything about you, because nothing can say anything about you, nothing at all, not even nothingness. Consciousness is beautiful and everything cannot really say anything about you. Who you really are, consciousness cannot really say anything, because nothing can say anything about who you really are. It's impossible.
Yeah, and it's very clear that I have no options. I have, same way I didn't have any option when this phenomena of looking at the source of the awareness was happening. It was just happening by itself. And right now the same thing, I don't have the choice of dropping it. It's just dropping itself by itself.
Mm-hmm.
And I have nothing to do about anything.
It's always been like that. No one had ever had a choice. The thing they had, and that creates chaos. No one has a choice. Choice doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's so funny.
It's only the self. It has always been everything the self. But the appearance can create chaos. You can believe anything. It can become a reality. It doesn't mean it's reality, but it can become real, Beliefs can create a lot of things in the mental, emotional, sensorial aspects of being, That doesn't mean it's reality, but that's how powerful is the light of consciousness through lenses. It can create, yeah. So it's so simple. And that's why people waste their time into knowing things, exploring things. Why don't you start with the most important thing, which is you? You are the most important thing, because without you, nothing exists, nothing at all. So the discernment, the gift that life or God has given to your body experience is make good use of it. So your immediate life can reflect and start blossoming the light. Take good use of the gift that was given to you, which is the experience of self. How you make advantage of it, get to know the source of self, who you really are. Then when you really want to know who you really are, everything that you are not will start to show up for you to see that you can be the things that are in front of you. That's the question, the question of trying to really know your true nature. The honesty on that will not accept falseness. The people that are really honest, that want to find who they are, will never settle for nothing less than truth, no matter what it is. I will never accept falseness, pretendance, fakeness, ever. Because otherwise you are still trying to justify the fakeness of the ego in you, and you can't. If you really want to know, you gotta not justify anything about you.
Yeah, today I just could see very clearly how after many years of very good training of dissociating a story from an emotion and seeing how this whole learning thing has been very much a false identification from the ego and a false, like, oh, I did very well, you know, but I could see the whole lie into it. It just doesn't make any sense. And who cares? So in a certain way, it's going back to the complete chaos and complete, I don't know, a complete matrix, exactly how it is, without interfering with it in any place, and not having anything to do with it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like yeah, coming back to the full circle. I don't know.
Yeah, coming back to the beginning of everything. That's the beauty of this. You are coming back to where you have never left. The recognition that you have never left. Never. You have never lost anything. You're not ignorant. There you have no lacks. There's no limitations on you. Dreaming, sleeping, and everything is just the board of the game from which you are witnessing everything happening. You have never left. You're already complete, you know?
And even everything that we used to call consciousness or unconsciousness, all of this is just just a lie. The same kind of lie between consciousness or unconsciousness. It's exactly the same thing. And there is nothing better than the other.
No. But that's the question. Even consciousness and unconsciousness, you learn it from someone. You didn't know those existed. So consciousness and unconsciousness are still in the past to try to make sense out of things. Of course, the consciousness answer is a better answer than the chaotic answer if you drop everything right now. Because that's what the ego and the individuality wants to do, wants to make sense out of things. My individual experience against the whole. Because the experience could be that you are so lost in the ocean without a GPS and without a saving donut. I don't know how you call it in English, you know, for you to float. You know, that's what people feel like. If they really pay attention to everything, they are so lost, they don't understand anything at all, really. It can get you so humble that it's like you are lost in the ocean alone. And there's sharks on the ocean swimming around you. There's no one around you and you are lost. If you drop everything, that's what it feels like. Abandonment, so lost in this microscope. You're a microscopic thing in this whole universe. And that's what the ego wants to make sense out of things. Oh, of course, I'm part of everything. Like wants to bring concepts and ideas, because if you remove everything, you know, and not many people are ready, they don't even want to be empty of everything, because the platform where they are standing from real awakening, you have to remove it. Otherwise, you will never be able to recognize as everything. If you're a thing, you will never be able to recognize everything as you, you know, or you are as everything. So what's always, and it's amazing because in the spiritual game, of course, it can be a really advanced game, you know, I'm not really diminishing it. But I will diminish it because it's creating hell for people. The misunderstanding of what truly spirituality it is and consciousness is. But the ego even uses the concepts of consciousness just to make things out of his sense of being in control of everything. Consciousness, unconsciousness, I'm part of the whole, like all these concepts and ideas that you have to learn from someone in order to make sense out of things. Why would you want to make sense out of things? Why? And this is the understanding that we want to get into this conversation. Why do you want to make sense out of things? What are you trying to protect? What do you want to hold on to? What will happen if you just drop everything right now, everything at once? Of course, there might be fear of losing something, but yeah, you're going to lose something that you're not. you're gonna lose something that has never helped you with anything. It has only created chaos and confusion and hypnosis. It has nothing to do with you, you know. But that's the thing. The moment you try to understand who you really are, you will not accept nothing at all as something that can define who you are. Nothing. You can't. It's not like, it's because it's beautiful to say I am consciousness. It sounds great. Because you have to put a label on yourself. Otherwise, who are you gonna be if you left out with all labels and ideas and identifications? Who you're gonna be? Because that's what people have grew up playing with. Okay, I am this, I am that, I'm love, I'm peace, I'm happiness, I'm a happy being, I'm a human being, I am this, I am this, I am this, I am this, I am this. And we have learned from everyone that we have the only way that you can function in the world, or the world is here to define who you are, and you have to act properly on all these definitions. For example, if you define yourself as someone, then you have to act it out. I'm a good person, then you gotta be a good person all the time. And when the emotion of intensity comes, no, this is wrong. Who said that is wrong? Who said that is impure? Who said that that's not worth of your love and embrace? Who said that? Oh, because I'm a good person. No, you don't know who you are. You're just putting a really beautiful label so you fit in, so you belong, so people accept you, so people love you. And then you have all this mask, because otherwise, how are you going to experience love and deep and connection? So that's what we did, just grew up defining ourselves so we can experience what we think we need: love, connection, closeness, intimacy, and all these things. But that is the wrong notion, because from the beginning, if you pay attention, everything that I just said is coming from lack. You are lack on something: lack of love, lack of cognition. The question is, who's that one who believes that lacks something? And that's who you are not. And that's the one that has to dissolve in order for duality to disappear for good. That's why, of course, this is the adventure. This is the beauty of this, that you start to, let's say, grow. You notice that you put all these labels because you wanted love. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's wrong if you stay there and don't move on. In a journey, it's a journey. It's just little steps, little step. No step is a final destination. The final destination is when you recognize that you have never left to no journey. That's the final destination. When you recognize that you have always been seated in your throne, you have never left your home ever. That's the real destination. With that clarity that, whoa, I was just dreaming. It was just a fantasy, and everything was just for the sake of the game. It has nothing to do with me. I was just watching a beautiful cosmic movie that I was not part of it. And that's okay. It's okay that we play those games. That's awesome. But now we are in a place that enough is enough. And awakening is enough of everything. And not many people are ready for enough is enough. Because the moment you start to embrace or claim that you're not gonna no longer be a subjugate by the chains of duality, everything starts to shake. Because now you are waking up, you are trembling the earth. True awakened beings is God incarnated walking. That's real awakening is. The rest is just nothing. Nothing. But of course, within yourself, when you start to natural, because it's natural, but at the same time it's an invitation to stop defining at all. Never say I am this or I am that. Nothing at all. Not even the self, not even conscious, nothing. If you say it, or is something that happens naturally that you know that you are consciousness, is still take it as a pointer. Don't let nothing at all define you. Because the reality of being, I was curious. For example, one day I had this epiphany. I don't know what would be the word to describe it, but when I started to notice that consciousness wasn't the final or the highest truth, my curiosity was, okay, if that's not the final truth, because it doesn't seem like it, because I have so many people around me that they are bad examples of the game. You know, what is that which is beyond consciousness? What would be the experience of that? What is the reality of that? And how would that perceive everything? What is that? It was that curiosity. How would that be like? How would that be like? And like I said, the reality of the self is, it doesn't perceive anything. It's complete. It doesn't see parts. Consciousness was learned at some point. Consciousness came at some point, which means consciousness is past. Who was that one which for a long time functioned without the help of consciousness? And that one I call supreme consciousness. And I gotta bring those concepts, because the spiritual, in these times, there's so many fake spirituality. You know, I'm not saying it doesn't help, but in the great scheme of things, it doesn't help at all. The only thing that helps is for you to remember your divinity. That's the only thing that helps. The rest, nothing. It's the only cure, you know. It's for you to know who you really are now and for good, in its most simple simplicity, you know. That's why it's so natural. Everything, what's happening is the less you do, the more natural it is. And that which is natural and pure, naturally will reject everything that is not, without you doing anything at all. It will not accept that something in front of it can define it. Natural. You don't have to do anything at all. And what is happening is that is just revealing itself, that the glory of the self is finally coming forefront. Not even nothingness. Like I said, any quality. One day I said it, like I said, it's tricky with the pointers. If I say the reality of the self has no qualities, even that is a quality. A quality that says no qualities. You know? That's why it's impossible to talk about the reality of the self. The only way is for you to be it. You will never be able to experience it, notice it, nothing. It's because it's not a thing. It's just pointers. But it's a powerful pointer, no qualities, and the witness are really powerful qualities that can push and take you out of the game completely. Of duality can actually dissolve for good and forever, you know. You can play by identify yourself as the empty witness. And then be empty again. I don't identify with anything. Don't acknowledge anything. Don't take nothing as your own. And not even that can define you. That's another pointer within the same pointer. And then the possibility of full awakening is right there for the self to reveal itself as the self, as you. And only then everything will be clear. Before, just treat everything as a game, a beautiful game. If you are, let's say, if you go on thought, awesome, you go on thought. You don't go on thought, oh, awesome, you don't go on thought. Whatever, all of those things are happening in the screen of consciousness, and those things they have nothing to do with you. Nothing has nothing to do with you. That's why it's so simple, this. Just don't define at all yourself with anything. You know, it's the moment you experience I am this, reject it. I am consciousness. No, drop consciousness. Stay in the I am. And I'm not talking about the mental I am. I'm talking about the energetically experience of presence that you already know that you are, because you can't deny that you are not. You cannot say you're not, you know. Your experience of being is self-evident, that is self-aware of its realness, without mental concepts or ideas or even consciousness for the matter of it. And yet you are, because like I said before, when you were a baby, let's say, consciousness wasn't there. You learned it like long time in the road, you know. Who was there without the help of consciousness? Because people learn about consciousness and it's like, oh, of course I was consciousness back then. No, you're not. You're projecting a concept and a knowledge into the past to justify something that you still don't know anything about, that you pretend to know, but you don't know. Really, it's like, that's the thing. That's what people do, trying to pretend and make sense out of things, bringing concepts, ideas to something that is beyond their capacity of understanding. Because it's not a thing, like I said, it will never be a thing. Everything that you know up until this moment, you have learned it. Consciousness, no consciousness, past, future, realities, here, there, now, coming back, living, thoughts, emotions, everything was learned. Everything is past. Past is mind. The past is dead, completely gone for good. And the mind is I, me. And I was learned to. Me was learned to. Is something that happened in the past at some point. So you just drop the I completely. Even the recognition of your I-ness was there. Also, I-ness was that something that happened in the past. Before that recognition of your I-ness, you were. You were without the need of all these things. And that's what that's to whom I'm talking about. That one is already the self-complete, empty of everything. Of course, now is the maturity of recognizing that in a greater game. It's just that's the only difference.
So even the recognition that I am, it's already trapped.
Mm-hmm. But it's a pointer.
Yeah.
And that's the gift you gotta open. You gotta open the I am, your I amness, treat it as if it were a beautiful gift. In the I amness is wrapped in consciousness, time, space, continuum, is wrapped up. If you pay attention, the only way you can experience your I amness is if you are the quality of consciousness here and now. You can't experience your I amness in the past. I amness doesn't exist in the past. Obviously, it doesn't exist in the future. So I amness is time bound, space bound, consciousness bound. And yet you are I am. Without that I amness, yet you are, And that's the gift. How you treat everything as the doorway to everything, into the infinity, to you, to your own self, to your real self. Like I said, many people are just exploring things in front of them. Past, future, mental games, emotional games. I'm not saying those are games, that's fine. Everybody wants to play. There's so many games in the world. There's Monopoly, there's chess, there's checkers, there's so many things that you want to play with. It's okay, there's games. But there's only one game town that nobody plays, which is how do you explore your I amness? And you enter to that realm, to that floor, to that game board. Because that's the entrance, your I amness. People have defined their even to enter to the I amness game, they still have to drop all the identifications with I am this, I am that. Otherwise, you cannot stay in the pure I amness. Pure I amness will never define itself with anything. Not even with I am. And that's the entrance. And people are so lost in Jesus. It's unbelievable. They are so lost in the mental, spiritual games that the trickiest game and the biggest game of all haven't even getting close to it. And they think they're close to it, or they think they have reached it. It's just, the other day, an example came to me is like, you are so lost like a polar bear in the desert. You know, that's how lost people are, like a polar bear in the desert. And they think they have found everything. That's unbelievable. But of course, a polar bear in the desert watches water and it goes drooling to it. That's how strong the fantasy can become, you know. Illusion, it can be so strong. It is really strong. But it's not strong for the real witness. You know, it's not strong for the real witness. That's why it's almost impossible to wake up by oneself unless you're really mature, really, really, really mature. And maturity, I'm just saying the great, or the, how to say that, the quality of humbleness, the quality of so much love towards life, towards God, towards everything that is love, pure love, giving love, nothing to take it as your own, to manipulate, to take advantage of, to use it for your benefit in the expense of others. You know, that's the maturity I'm talking about, which is really hard to find if you pay attention. You know, the ego, the ego, you know, veil is really, really strong. So only the pure, the heart, the people that are really pure on heart will find something like this. If they don't find something like this, it means their heart are not pure, are tainted. Of course, they can pretend they have a pure heart, but they're just deceiving themselves, because if it were true that someone has pure heart, real humbleness, real love for everything, without any gasp for their own sake or their own egotistic patterns and ideas, they will be exploring something like this. I'm not talking here precisely, I'm not talking about here, you know, but something like this that will cleanse and the lenses from when they're watching everything. If they're not playing the game of games, everything is ego. Of course, they can pretend to cry and everything they love, but if they're not playing the game of the self or exploring the game of the self, they're deceiving themselves and everyone around them. That's why here is different. The invitation is to the core of your own being. You're already infinite, beautiful, full of love, filled with love for everything. And if you are here, it's because you won't accept a no for an answer anymore. And this is your time. Not many are willing to claim and go and play and explore because of what it could mean. For the self to reveal itself in all its glory as you. And it's final, done. You passed the test, let's say. There's gotta be so much emptiness in you and humility and love that the only thing left for you is to sit back and enjoy. Nothing else for you to do at all. Leave everything to the self. It's up to the self now. He will be in charge of everything of you, completely, in all angles. Full, total surrender. Your life has never been your own. Your thoughts have never been your own. Nothing has ever been it has never been yours. treat everything as everything has always been this for the self. I said it in one of the interviews, I think, with you. People are so lost, it's unbelievable. When you say I surrender or I let go my thoughts, you assume that your thoughts were yours. And when you say I surrender myself to something, you assume you are your own owner. You know, and that's the misconception. You think you own yourself to you. You have never been your own owner. The owner is the self. So you don't have the right to surrender yourself to something, because you're not yours. And then what are you gonna do? You're gonna become empty again because you don't understand what I'm saying, or the mind will not grasp what do you mean? I am. Of course I can decide. Of course I can choose. And that's the fog, you know, the mental fog that creates separation. Me and the self. I'm part of the self. I'm an instrument. That's the lie. You have never been a part of anything. You are the self. The self doesn't have any parts. Don't consider yourself as a part. You have never been a part. You are the whole. You are the whole. You know? But people had made us believe, and we believe in our naiveness. You know? Yeah, we're part of everything. You know? We're a spark of the divine. All these concepts and assumptions and sensorial misconception just to justify our individuality or the sense of duality, you know, because we're trying to make sense out of things. We're trying to understand so our universe doesn't collapse into nothingness, into the abyss. And that has to happen if you want to fully wake up. What dissolves is limitations, the false ideas of who you were or who you think you are. You don't dissolve. You see dissolving, which is different. You know, but people are so identified with that thing which is dissolving that fear and chaos happens around it, because they think they are that which is dissolving. You can't be that which comes and goes. You can't be that sometimes changes into one thing to another thing. You can't be that. You are the witness of it all, on change, on moving, complete, radiant, self-luminous. It doesn't need anything at all. And everything needs you in order to exist. Nothing in front of you is worth exploring. Nothing at all. A waste of time. Just explore your own self. Open to your own self. Have curiosity of who's this one in the middle of everything. That curiosity will open so many doors that are true, and all the false one will be shut down naturally. That's why it's so powerful, but not many people pay attention to it. Everything starts on the assumption first that you exist, which is a lie. Only the self exists. And there, the next assumption is that you lack something. Everything starts from that. I need to do this in order to achieve something, not to get something. And if you want to get something, is because you are lack, or you're missing it. You know, that's why all the search starts, meditation starts. So many things are created, just the assumption that there's something lacking. You gotta practice this, you gotta learn this, you gotta go this, you gotta travel this, you gotta do. Then after you do this, then you will get what you were looking for. So the assumption is that I'm lack something and I have to do something in order to get it. Why we follow these thought patterns? Why don't we just don't follow them and pay attention and understand and be bold? Okay, the assumption is that I'm missing something. That's what I believe, that I'm missing something. What am I missing? I'm missing this. Who's missing that? And if you pay attention, all the searches drop in a microsecond. All these mental techniques and everything are useless because then you pay attention and you understand that you have always been full. Because all those things only apply to the fantasy, egotistic mind that believes it lacks something. And it has beliefs and desires. But you're not that. You're prior to that. So the mind says, I need love. Really? At one point, where did you hear from that you were lacking something? And then you start to see a different scenario of beliefs and ideas and misinterpretations that you weren't aware of. That those things were related to you. Nothing relates to you. And that's where the false ego starts to show the ghost, you know, the phantom. Because you can't be that one. So you start from you have never left. You are complete. You're already complete. You're already full awake. You're already full awake, really. Believe me. Complete and radiant, whole. And then suddenly, I need to. Whoa, who's this one who says I need to? And then you ignore it. You don't pay attention to it. You don't follow that thought pattern. You don't identify with it. And you remain in fullness. That's how easy it is. You are always in fullness. Always bathing, swimming in full-on fullness. Then there's an I that says, I don't get it. I don't understand. So it means that I lack understanding. The I says, I lack understanding, that I need to understand. There's a lack right there. There's something missing. Or I need love, or I need connection. I need God. I need enlightenment. I need something. So you are assuming that you are lacks that which you are looking for. You believe that you are lack on that thing that is popping up. Easier. Who's that one? It can't be you. Because before it appeared, you were already existing. That's why it's so easy. You just don't follow that I thread and nothing will come into existence. Nothing at all. And you are like, whoa, I'm always full. Unbelievable. The rest is just a belief. But for a belief to happen, there has to be someone that believes it. You know? The belief, always, a belief is from the past. You learn it from someone. And the I also is a past thing. But the I has the quality of, I don't know, like a bag. You can put things on the back. You know, that's the quality of the I. Put things on the back. And then one day it takes one of the back thing, the understanding thing, the love thing. I'm a human, beautiful being, or things. I am something. I am something. Don't accept that I as you. You know? And then life becomes so simple. Because then you don't refer yourself anymore as I. That's the ghost, the I-ness. There's still an I, but it's the self-I. That's the real I. But your I-ness is the doorway. It's always been this easy. Really. But at the same time, it's always been the hardest of the hardest too. Because you're touching the most profound and the most beautiful and pure thing ever.
So if it's so natural and so easy, Why are you the only one talking about that?
Because there's always being one. The appearance of others, they only appear as if they were not exploring the one because they are still attached to the senses. They don't want to know who they really are. They just want entertainment for the senses. They care about what is in front of them is more important than the one witnessing them. The gift of gifts hasn't been opened because they don't want the gift of gifts. I remember a story that kind of like clarifies it. There was a king and he didn't have any sons and he was getting older. So he wanted to find a new heir so he can give all his kingdom to it. And he said to one of his assistants, let's say on the kingdom, and he said, I wanna make a party. I wanna celebrate because I wanna give my kingdom to someone. I'm gonna allow people to enter the palace, and the one that goes all the way into my chambers or where the king sits, I'll see that he is the one that I will give everything to him. So they open the gates, and of course it's a royal party. Because of that, and it's a really meaningful event. And because of that, of course, there's a lot of food, amazing food, Jesus, like you can eat a lot, candy, ice cream, whatever. And of course, there's swimming pools and you can swim on the waterfalls and see the landscape and everything, because of course you have entered the palace. No one has ever entered the palace, but now they have the opportunity to enter the palace. So the day goes by, people enter, and people go, they change, they put clothes, they eat really good, and the king is just waiting in his chair. No one enters his chambers, his hall. No one enters. At the end of the day, of course, it's nighttime. Everybody get out of here. Ciao, bye-bye, because the palace has to close. And the king calls to his assistant. He's like, hey, what happened? I've been waiting all day here for someone. Nobody actually came here. And the assistant, I don't remember the name in English. What would you say? The one that helps the king, but it's like, well, everybody just took a lot of food to their homes. People wanted just some clothes and left. People were dancing and having fun, and they forgot why they were here. They just were enjoying themselves so much that they forgot the purpose of this event. So no one came. And the king was like, okay. And for a lot of people, their chance is gone. They miss the train because they are still enjoying the senses, the fruit, the food, the clothing, the music, the dancing. If they just went straight for the purpose of that event, straight and talk to the king, they will have it all. But people, it's good enough for them. They're begging for food, and that's what they make more important than becoming. And they stayed in the food craving, begging bowl. That's the difference. Do you want it all? You go straight. You forget about everything. You don't care about anything. You go because you want what you want, Not many people want it. It's amazing, the mystery of this, but it's something like that. Everything is for you to take. It's there. Just keep walking, keep walking, keep walking. Don't stay in one event. Don't stay in another event. Don't let the music of the hall hypnotize you. I'm not saying don't dance. I'm not saying don't enjoy. I'm just saying don't lose sight of the purpose of why you're here. Enjoy the road. Amazing. Oh, flowers, food, bananas, donuts. Awesome. But don't lose sight of it. Don't lose sight of things. Everything is just a gift to take you deeper into your own self. If you go straight to the core of things, you'll get everything. Then everything makes sense, and it's true. Seek first the kingdom of heaven, and everything will be added onto you. But you are the kingdom of heaven. That's what people are they don't understand. It's not within you, the kingdom of heaven. You are the kingdom of heaven. You know, they don't explore their own self as the kingdom. They think their kingdom is within them. That is false. Because there's still, if I say it's within you, still there's distance between you and it. Somewhere within you, and you gotta look for it, you gotta find it. But if I tell you you are, the search is over because you already are. There's no within. There's no kingdom within. That's a lie. You are the kingdom. You know? But it's so easy to get lost. People think because they have read a sentence, they have understood the game. They don't get it. What if you treat yourself as if you were already royalty? What if you acknowledge yourself as if you were already divine, complete? What if you were one of those rare ones that actually went to the hall and met the king? And you are its heir. It's done. Then everything is just for you to enjoy.
It feels that it's a lot of responsibility.
Of course, it is. But it's not yours. It's the self. That's the difference between when you are the self and when you think you are something different. The self has all the responsibility and at the same time, nothing, because nothing has ever existed. Nothing is happening. Nothing at all. Just depends of which point of view are, from which point of view are what you are playing the game. From the absolute, like I said, from the point of view of the gold, believe me, nothing else exists but gold. There is no rings or bracelets. That doesn't exist. It's just a misconception. That's the imposition on the reality of the self. From that perspective, nothing is happening. Nothing at all. There's no responsibility. There's no destiny. There's no journey. There's no here. There's no thoughts. There's no light. There's nothing at all. Nothing at all. Only the self. Self-radiant. So there's no responsibility at all. Because there's no one thing which is responsible for the other, because there's no me and you, here and there, me and that. All those are gone. The true teachers is fascinating. A true teacher doesn't have any students. Real students, they don't have any teacher. Only the self is. So teachers, real teachers, will never grab students' karma, because that's still fantasy. If a teacher grabs a karma of a student, it's not a real teacher. How can you carry the weight of something that has never existed? That's just stupidity. Sorry. You know, but people, some teachers throw this to the people that they don't know so they can feel special and the students feel special and, oh, Jesus Christ. No. A real teacher can't carry your karma because you don't have any karma. A real teacher will see you for who you are. And who you are doesn't have any karma. You don't have tendencies. You don't have past. You don't have faults. Nothing at all. So what is there to transcend, clean, and carry your burden. If that doesn't exist, it was just a misunderstanding of your true nature. Unbelievable.
So about what you just said, we don't have any tendencies. Actually, today I observed that I was observing a very old kind of tendency that I didn't, I haven't seen for many years. And today it just came into my awareness. Oh, this is a very old tendency.
Mm-hmm.
So where is the mistake? Is it in the observation?
If you think that that tendency was yours, the tendency has nothing to do with the one watching it. The one watching it doesn't have any tendencies.
Yes, I can observe that this computer body mind emotion had some. It's wired in a certain way that if you push certain button, the result will be a certain thing.
Awesome. Well, you're not that.
Okay.
You know, the body has some tendencies, some learnings. The body has to go through some things. The body has gone through some things, but you're not the body. You are the witness of everything. And the witness of everything is free of everything, already free of everything. The body is not free of everything. The body is bound to things. You know, the body is still, it can experience suffering. Of course, chop your finger off and you know, it's gonna be painful. So the body is still going through experiences, which is beautiful. I mean, it's a beautiful dance, it's a beautiful vehicle. The problem is that we have identified ourselves as if we were the body and its components and its experiences, body, mind, experience, you know. But you're not that. If you see a tendency, it means that is not your tendency. It was just a tendency that it might happen in the body. That's awesome. You know, that's good. As long as you don't take it to the game of you. I saw my tendency. No, you don't have any tendencies. You don't have karma. You don't have past. You don't have a future. All those things are in the realm of concepts, ideas, notions. And the people that believe in those things are going to be real. They're real. That doesn't mean they are real, you know. It's not a higher reality. There's a higher reality than those perceptions. That game of believing you are the body, that you have been born and you're gonna die, all those things are mental concepts, identifications with consciousness and mind and the senses. People that are playing in that game will never get out of that game. And they will die and reborn and reborn and reborn and reborn and reborn. The suffering game will never end until at some point a glimpse, an invitation to, hey, who's that one? Who am I really? Then only the answer to that question will break the spell of suffering, reincarnation, and all that cosmic drama. That's the only way, that's the only real awakening there is to it. The rest is not real awakening. It's just postponing suffering, you know? So like I said, from that perspective, the only way for you to know self is you are empty of everything. All your tendencies have to be dropped completely, you know? And from that perspective, that can create a long time. I remember when I came up with this concept, it's like, Jesus, it's gonna take me like 100 lifetimes for me to cleanse all my tendencies. But that is true. But it's faster if you question the one that has all the tendencies.
Yeah, actually, it's not to drop the tendencies, it's to drop the identification with the tendencies.
No, drop the identification with the one that has tendencies. That's the tricky thing here.
Yeah.
In order for the tendencies to have reality, there has to be someone that has tendencies. Otherwise, the tendencies, they don't apply. The only way a tendency can apply is only if there is someone. If you don't accept that one, if you don't acknowledge that one, if you don't fall into the trap that you are that one, gone, ciao, for good, bye-bye, no more tendencies. Like I said, you don't have tendencies. You don't have past, you don't have future. You don't have karma. Neither past karma, nor future karma. That doesn't exist. You're free. You are here, you're free to enjoy. Just enjoy, that's it. Don't believe anything about anything, and then nothing applies to you. Then you are really free. And just do as you please. It was always about having fun. But from freedom is fun. From no freedom is no fun at all. It's just tiring, anxious, painful, because you will never reach the promised land. You are the promised land. You have always been what you have always been what you were looking for. That's what I said at the beginning, or somewhere along our conversation. If you start from the point that you already hold, you are already the kingdom of heaven. You are the kingdom. It's not something that is within you. That's still a lie. If you start from that point that you are complete and that you're really free, all the traps or the subtle games of I need this, I need to do that, you don't listen and you remain complete. And immediately everything evaporates in front of you as something that it had reality at some point, but doesn't have any realness anymore. Because you don't acknowledge it, you don't name it, you don't recognize it. Why would you recognize something in front of you as if it has something to do with something of you? You just laugh yourself away. That's why it's so powerful, some pointers. And some pointers will make sense, already made sense. Some of them will make sense probably tomorrow. That's the beauty of this. It's just self-revealing. Just stay quiet, stay empty, don't believe anything. Don't follow any thought, any pattern, any idea, any desire, no intention, just here. Innocent, real innocence. There's nothing to let go of. There's nothing to surrender to. There's not a me, there's not a you. There's no you and source. There's no you coming back. There's no you going forward. There's no you discovering and getting clearer. Don't listen to those things. Stay empty. That's how simple it is. And in this simplicity is the most natural way of being, is the purest of them all. That is so pure, immaculate, pristine, radiant, clear, that anything will taint it. Your game is not to taint it. How do you make sure you don't taint it? Just be empty. Live in love, but not the love or emotional love or the one that gives or takes or is a recipient or that is a giving or anything. It's just self-evident that all that is love without the concept of it, need emotional state of it. It's just a love expressing itself for the sake of love, for the sake of the self. And you stay empty again. And just be rooted in emptiness. Something happens, great. Don't reject, don't accept. Don't go away, don't stay here, don't go over there, nothing. Just watch everything as it is. All those notions are only time-bound experiences. You are the witness of it all, and nothing can define you. I am this, I am that, no. I am consciousness, no. I am that I am, close, but no. You don't need to. You don't need to. When that experience happens, for example, that is a real strong I amness, or I am that I am, or a really strong acknowledge of something so divine in its nature is only one of the final invitations to step into complete emptiness. Nothing is the end or the final destination. The final destination will reveal itself by itself as the self. And there's no words for it. Like I said, everything is just a pointer. In the Bible says, be still and know that I am God. I am is God. You are beyond God. You are beyond I am. Without you, if you don't give the concept of God or the I am or the acknowledgement of those things, then you'll find who you really are. But I mean, God consciousness is really big. I mean, it's really potent compared to the rest. And yet, it's a doorway. Because most of your life, you're not aware of the I am. You have never been aware of the I am. And yet you are. Who's that one? And that one is impossible to talk about. It's the source of source, the light of lights. And you are that. Fascinating.
So now another question.
Mm-hmm.
If this is so simple, so evident, so what it is, why do I come back to it again and again, listening to you?
Well, the self has no problem playing with itself and pretending things. The self loves itself and is just playing its own game. It has created the appearance of distance. It has created the appearance of here and there, in and out. It's just within the cosmic movie. But like I said, the self is everything. Is everything. So it has no problem being the robber, being the sick, being the cure, being the people that care, being the people that seems that they don't care. It's everything. It's just pretending it's everything at the same time, everything at the same time, but nothing defines it. For example, I gave it recently this example. Imagine that you are going to a play and there's a guy that is acting just pretending to be a woman in the play. In the surface, people are seeing a woman. Underneath is a guy pretending to be a woman. Underneath, there's an actor. You know, the knowledge of being a guy or a woman, it doesn't matter, it's just an example. The knowledge of being a guy, an actor, doesn't go away. In the moment of the play, it's just a facade. You know, I'm just playing my part. You know, underneath, the guy knows he's an actor. But if you keep going underneath, you'll get to the substratum. And the self is the self in everything, before everything. It knows itself to be the self. It has never been confused. If you see from that perspective, it's not pretending anything. It just is for the sake of its potentiality and magic.
Yeah, actually, for me, it's clear that even this whole thing is just a game, and I am playing the game of being the student, and you are playing the game of being the teacher.
And who says that
apparently.
I'm not you playing the same part, a different part from different perspective?
Mm.
Don't make any distinctions. Like I said, from the perspective of the game of the play, if you look underneath the self is the man, the self is the woman, the self is the actor, the self is the dialogue, the self is the narrative of the play, the self is the time-bound design of everything, the self is the mountains and the rivers, everything is the self. Everything, the script, the dialogue, the understanding, the one who listens, the one who speaks, is the self. There has never been a you and a that. That's why people it's so unbelievable how they reject their own creation. They're everything they see, everything. And they're so arrogant that they diminish it. Everything is their own self, expressing through their own infinite expression. And then they do tantrums about it. It's unbelievable. I mean, everything is you. You have created the teacher, you have created the circumstances, you have created everything. You're everything. You're everything. I mean, everything. Don't make any distinctions, don't make any comparisons, don't identify with one part of the game and suddenly it's like, whoa, wow, okay, you know? But if you make a distinction, that's how it's gonna be limited perspective. You think you are there and I'm here because you still think there's one there and one here. And that's the identification. I'm a student, you're a teacher. I'm exploring something that I don't understand and you're telling me something that I don't understand. There's still a me, a you. And it's just the self expressing itself, you know? And that's the beauty of this. Because the moment you identify with one part, then you can't be the rest of the parts. You are all the parts. If you don't identify with anything, suddenly it's clear. And it doesn't matter what the body is doing. I don't really care what my body is doing. What is its role? I don't really pay attention to it. I don't identify with the role of this body. I'm just the witness of what's happening. And that's it. It's up to this body to do what it's here to do. It's not up to me. You know? This body has qualities that are needed for the game, but that has nothing to do with me. I'm just the witness of this, and that's it. I don't take any ownership on this. I don't take any, how do you say it? Nothing at all. It's given. Like I said before, it was given. Everything is given. I'm just watching it all unfold. It's not my responsibility at all whatsoever about anything at all. For me, it's like I said one day in one of the meetings, it's tricky to have a conversation with oneself about oneself. What is the point of it? You know? But there's nothing wrong with it. It's a beautiful cosmic dance. It's like you dance with your friends, you dance with your partner, you go to travel the world, you get to write a novel or a drama, or it's just games and games and games and games. And this is the game of the self with the self and only by itself. That's it. And expressing itself in whatever form or shape the self wants to explore itself, you know, love itself, give itself. It's amazing when you hear truth, believe me, you are talking to yourself. When you see truth, you are seeing yourself. Don't make it about the recipient. Don't make it about the person. Don't make it about the vehicle, and then you'll see that you're seeing yourself. That's why all these examples, you know, And only then they make sense. I remember one example or that I read, that this, let's say this lion, got lost in the jungle. It was a baby lion. And then suddenly a farmer found it, and it grew up with the farmer, And then the lion started to, I don't know, get together with the donkeys and the sheep and everything. And he believed to be one of them. He believed it was a donkey and carried the load for the farmer, or believed it was the sheep and it was just there, me, around, enjoying life and eating grass. And then until one day, a real lion, a wild lion, gets close and everybody panics, runs away. And the lion sees that other lion runs away too, and he's panicking and he's frightened and shaking, and he's like, what's going on here? And then it chases him down until it puts him like into the, I don't know how to say that in English. Well, it chases him until he's like, what are you doing? And the lion, the weak, coward lion, what are you talking about? Why are you afraid? No, what are you doing? I'm here with my family. I'm here, I don't know, carrying the load of helping, eating my grass, living life, flowing. And it's like, what's wrong with you? But he doesn't see until, hey, come on, I'll show you who you are. See the lake, see the reflection of you and me. We are the same. There's no difference. And then the lion remembers something so deep that is like, whoa, I just believed to be something different, something that I'm not. It is against my nature to be something that I'm not. And in that moment, everything drops. Why would I want sheep? Why would I want donkeys? There's so many places where just the sheep are following the sheep and the donkeys are following the donkeys. They will never awake. Awakening is see for who you are and see the royalty in you, the divinity in you. You're not a sheep. You're not a donkey. You're not a monkey. You're not a parrot. You're not here for entertainment. You're not here to give a show to people. You're here to be free, break from the chains of individuality. And that's when the wake up to roar makes sense. A lion wakes up and roars. A lion doesn't wake up and goes like, meh. Imagine that. Someone that has awoken and it just goes bah around. And of course, all the sheep are so happy. Jesus, I want to be that sheep. The one that has the courage to speak out her truth. There's another sheep baying around her. But that's what this is this is like the time we're living in, it's just a cosmic joke of just sheep baying. I don't know how you say it in English, Unbelievable.
Well, we are in New Zealand. There are more sheep than people.
Yeah, bay yourself away.
You understand it as you want, which any level you want.
Yeah, fascinating. But it's true, when you read these things, like they're pointing out to something, they're just trying to tell you, hey, see yourself in me and remember, and see who you really are. Don't follow the sheep, Don't follow the donkeys. Don't follow the parrots. They're just here for entertainment. They're here to wake up. Like I said, real waking up shakes things. Real waking up. It has to dissolve all limitations. What is shaken is the limitations, not you. You have never been shaken. You can't be shaken. You are free. You are unlimited. The appearance of limitation dissolving is just something happening in front of you that is not happening to you. There's no limitation that is being cleansed to you. You have never had any limitation. It's just the perspective of have believed that you had limitation that's what is being cleansed, not you. Nothing has to do with you, nothing. Don't do anything at all. And it's funny, it's fascinating. It just happens, everything happens by itself. Amazing. No, you're here to be your own king, your own queen, your own divine lover, your divine self. And of that, you can't keep on pretending and live like sheep. You can't. You're meant for more, you know. And you're not here to be a donkey either, to carry burden. You know. You're here to run, to explore, to have fun. You know. Everything you see is your kingdom. Everything. Just love it. Respect it. But don't let anything in front of you to be the master of you. No? Mm-hmm.
Hi, two things.
Yeah.
The first one is this idea of karma. And it's so funny to me that the most spiritual circles that are preaching and teaching and pointing to oneness incorporate this idea of karma, and how with karma, there's always one doing something to someone else. It's in its nature, karma is duality.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just funny that that's part of that picture, part of the oneness picture. And then, I don't know, the other thing is, where I think it was in either the interview I did or Mahima did, and one of us asked you about, you know, moving through the spiritual circles, the spiritual games, and then transcending this final game of consciousness. And I had the assumption that it was still like a ladder, and that was the way to it, was to go through it. And I still, maybe those rungs were still helpful, or that I was closer to it somehow by getting higher up the ladder, because then I had to go through the final veil. But actually what I'm feeling now, and this is because the last week or two, I had a lot of judgment around what I was experiencing, because it's like I went completely unconscious or asleep, and so wasn't being present or wasn't aware of myself, or all of these things that I previously thought of was, you know, tick the box, I'm climbing the ladder. So how it feels now is that actually the more unconscious I am, is it that the better it is? Because I feel like I'm letting go. It's like I'm backing away from this concept that those things are better. Is it that? Because it feels like I'm backing away back to like towards I don't know, less spiritual concepts, less ideas about how it should be. I almost feel like when I was less conscious when I was 20, I was probably closer to the self because I had less bullshit around it. Is that true? Or is that just another concept?
Well, it's both true and concept, because, for example, everything that you have experienced up until this moment is valid, is valid. It has helped you explore, enjoy, grow, create, be who you are. I mean, sensitive, to get to know yourself in a deeper level that probably at 20 you didn't know yourself so deep as now, let's say. It's just beautiful, but all of that just has served its purpose. Everything has served its purpose. And one way to see it is like everything that you have lived, for the next game has no purpose, doesn't serve at all, nothing, like really nothing. But at the same time, it helps in the discernment of the real. Finally, your discernment, your clarity, your understanding of the natural way of being, all of that helped. So the purest of things, the most beautiful of things, can actually finally reveal itself as the most important thing, which is you. So it's not like it didn't have a purpose. It made you grow into the discernment now that, for example, all these levels are for the fantasy. In your reality, there's no levels, neither up and down. And what I'm talking about here, as you said, something about the unconscious might be more to the self. Yeah, but now it's more unconscious of the unconscious from being conscious about it. I'm saying it's more to the pointer. It's like more like I'm full and aware of the emptiness of consciousness, but I'm here. I'm still here. That's a recognition which is different, which is a different platform from what you're discovering your true nature. Because now you have a quality, maturity in consciousness, and I'm not talking the normal consciousness. I'm talking something more natural that is a really powerful, natural way of being, which is awareness or consciousness. It's something that within the game exists, but misuse can create a lot of chaos. Using it properly is to don't identify with it either. That quality is there. And that quality of consciousness is the one that can actually help you see the unconscious movement, the conscious movement, the everything, the nothingness. That quality still, a drop of water of consciousness can help you discern between what it is and what is not. But like I said, it's just a pointer. It's not the goal, That's what is really important. Now, of course, because the unraveling of everything that was a concept is just starting to drop naturally. So something purer that doesn't need any concept or interpretation can actually come forward finally. Which is, like I said, is tricky, depends on how you look at it. Everything had its purpose. For example, everything that I experienced, I'm grateful for it. But I'm grateful for what it gave me. I'm not acknowledging something that gave me something that it pretended to give me something that it didn't give me. I acknowledge the gifts, the persons that I was with, the teachers that I had. I acknowledge and I'm respectful towards what they gave me. And I was like so grateful for all my past. It did its purpose. The whole experience that happened is like if you want to cross a river, you go into the boat. You cross the river and you drop the boat and you keep on going. I'm grateful for the boat. Ciao, I cross the river. Bye-bye. New exploration. But people don't do that. They go into the boat. They think they have crossed the river and then they carry the boat. And there's no more rivers and they just carry the boat, carry the boat, carry the boat. It's like it means that you haven't actually crossed the river. Otherwise you wouldn't need the boat. There's no water anymore. But you say thank you. even the concepts of consciousness. Thank you, because the discernment that even those things can define you is amazing. And that discernment, self-revealing, is your own self-wisdom, true wisdom, you know, towards your own identity. But it's true, people that have gone through the spiritual, not many have to go through it, but many people that go through the spiritual game, they have created so many traps that are almost impossible to break from. But if they are willing, they are open, they are humble, and they want to follow the thread to their own heart, all those things can actually, because there's going to be an experience and understanding underneath all those concepts that before they were just concepts or ideas, but now you're going to be a living experience of that place where all experiences come from, dissolve into the source of where everything comes from, because the concepts are pointing out to a source of where they're coming from. Even the concept of karma or any kind of concept is coming from a place. They're dictating something that is beyond the understanding of that place, and they want to try to make sense out of things. In the game of duality, karma exists because the individual exists, and you are bound to it because that's the beliefs and that's what's going to happen. But when you play beyond it, no karma can touch you, because you have always been beyond everything. It's just a misunderstanding of who you are, your identity, your true identity. People that are playing with karma will never wake up, or they don't understand awakening, or they just understand a really high level of understanding within the game of consciousness. It has nothing to do with break free from the jail of duality. It's totally different. So for me, it's easier to talk about, let's talk about something beyond the prison. You have always been free. No karma applies to you. That is true. The rest, it was just something that helped you, I don't know, walk through the game of life the best possible way that you learned from, which was beautiful, you know. Karma had a purpose, consciousness had a purpose, fear had a purpose, everything had a purpose to, I don't know, each moment had its own self-revealing experience for you to keep on flowing with the game. But now it's like Mahima said, you're rewinding, is like coming back to the beginning of everything, you know, full circle, boom. And here, of course, it's like all these concepts that you just said, a spiritual concept, they have to drop. So we become that innocent, childlike, with the maturity, let's say, of the full consciousness of being. Because a child might not have full consciousness of being. You have that opportunity, full awakening. Otherwise, I mean, all little kids will be full awakened. And there's a reason they are not full awakened, because otherwise they will never fall into the trap of duality. Full awakening will never fall into the trap of duality ever. It's impossible. If it's not like that, it's still not full awakening. Like a river, that's why these examples make sense. A river, if it meets the sea, it becomes the sea. It will never go, it doesn't go back to be the river, you know? It doesn't come back to be the river. That's impossible. If people go back to the river or whatever experience because they haven't reached the sea, they haven't reached home, they haven't reached source, they haven't reached their own self, they haven't. It might appear they have, but you pay close attention, it's obvious that they haven't, you know. But from the perspective of the ocean, karma, pain, concepts, nothing exists. It's just fullness and completeness, and you are that. You're always that. That's why it's easier to start from the point that you're already that and you're already complete, and from there, oh, you laugh away. Ah, look, that was true. It's not true anymore. You know, true spirituality is when you disappear, when you are empty, not before. True spirituality is when you're empty, when you don't gain nothing, you don't look for nothing, you're not searching for nothing. You know, But like I said, spirituality is used just to obtain something. That's where spirituality exists, to give you something that you're missing. From the perspective of the absolute, spirituality doesn't exist. You know, doesn't exist. The problem is like, who has created the concept, the notions, the ideas, or the dialogue and narrative about spirituality? You gotta be a good person. You gotta love yourself. You gotta blah, 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 blah. And if you pay attention, it's just to make sense out of things, and you don't feel lost. Because if you drop even the spirituality and connection, all those things, whoa, who am I? I'm gonna disappear. Exactly. That's the point. You know, so you can actually see that you can't disappear. What disappears is the false notion of who you think you are. That has to disappear in order for you to know who you really are. You know, the lion, to become a lion, really a full grown up lion, has to drop the idea that it was a sheep. You know, what is more painful? For the lion to keep living as a sheep, or for the lion to drop the idea to be a sheep and become a lion? What is more painful? You know, people are so fearful that they will drop the idea of being a sheep, but what is causing all the anxieties that your nature is imprisoned into a mental fantasy of a sheep when you're a ruler, you know? You know? One kills in a different level, a different pain of suffering when you pretend to be something that you're not. But people are more afraid to drop in the idea of a sheep, that they don't see that pretending to be a sheep when they are lions and lionesses is the cause of suffering. Pretending something that you are not. You know? But hey, that's the game. It's okay to be a sheep for the sheep. For the ones that are like, no, I'm not a sheep. I thought I was. I believed I was. But that doesn't mean you are. You know? Just one last thing to finish. I remember a long time ago, I saw the movie, I think it was Madagascar. And there's a moment when a lion that has lived in the circus for a long time is taken into the wild and is getting hungry and hungry and hungry. And there's a moment when the hunger of the lion kicks in and sees everything as meat. Do you know? There's a moment when you'll see everything as you. You know? The right perspective, the clear perspective of the nature of your true self will devour everything. And what is left will be unlimited, boundless. And that's who you are. There was just a misconception. But I remember that movie, I was just laughing away, you know? Because that's the question. If a lion believed to be a sheep for a long time, what happens when it starts the mental change, emotional state, the psychological change, the spiritual change, when the switch kicks in, really? Do you think everything's gonna be the same? You're gonna see from the same eyes? You think life's gonna be kind of like as before? No, it's radical. I mean, the point of view. I mean, every day I wash the dishes. It's like, that's still normal, natural. But the point of view, the place where you're coming from, your nature is just like, bruh, free at last. People might not see it. It doesn't matter. You're free. People, they don't believe it. Who cares? You're free. You're free. Nothing compares to it. And it could be for each and one of you can be different. Of course, it might blossom with different colors, different ways. I don't know. That's the beauty of this. I don't know. I don't know. I just share how it was for me, how it is for me, and everything. But it's the beauty of this. It might be is unique for you how it reveals itself to you, and that's the one you gotta honor. You know, like I said, all of this is just a pointer. That's it. For me, it was a lion. For some people, it's gonna be a swan. How do you say the ugly dog? I don't know. Remember the story? You know, the ugly dog, and they become a swan or perfect. You know, it's just the same invitation. Don't go against your nature, and don't pretend to be, because that doesn't help anyone. Pretend to be a sheep, a happy sheep, or a happy donkey. Doesn't help anyone. You know, doesn't help. Just be, and that's it. Enjoy, be happy, do nothing, be empty. So easy. It's unbelievable. So easy. So easy. And whatever you need, I'm here for you, either to get clarity to how is it been for you, your discoveries, anything that you have noted, anything. That's what we're here for, you know, to chat, to walk along and explore. I don't know, however that looks like, you know. Hey, Mike.
Hey, thank
So
you
good
for
to see
that.
you.
Yeah, it's been a beautiful talk. I'm just laughing to myself because I used to call Celeste when I first started dating her. I used to call her my diosa, my goddess. And she looked at me and said, "Oh, you're me Buro," and I went, "Oh, she's being romantic to me." So she was calling me a donkey for the first year of our relationship. So I think I'll need to break out of that one. No, that's beautiful how yeah, we can be complete like the ocean and just drop all these layering on us of all these things that we think we are. So yeah, and lose the I. Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much. It's been wonderful.
Oh, thank you. All of this is because of you. So just give a part of yourself and say thank you to myself, because all of this is your creation, which is an honor to witness.
You know, it's wonderful. And yeah, I just need to try and do more meditation and drop the I and just be the self and yeah, become a lion.
Get hungry.
Exactly.
Thank you. I love you very much. Enjoy. Roar.